Hello, and welcome to the Emotional Endurance Movement, the only mental health variety show built to help you build your emotional endurance. This week's episode is dedicated to your one friend who finds the joy in absolutely everything. Sorry, Dolly, that my wig is more Thomas Jefferson than Dolly Parton, but let's go. Hey, everybody. I've been turning lemons into lemonade since birth. I wrote Jolene and I Will Always Love You on the same day. Some folks just have a good Tuesday, and I wrote 2 mega hits in one day. I get up 3 in the morning every single day. Some people call that discipline. I call it being too excited to sleep. I've got a secret song locked in a box at Dollywood that nobody can open till 2045. That's right. I sent my own future self a gift of joy. You know the one.
Oh, I know the one.
Hello, and welcome to the Emotional Endurance Movement. I'm Laurie Page, your Chief Coping Officer, and here with me is our behaviorist at large and someone who taught me once again about the power of storytelling this week. It's Crimson McDonald.
Howdy, y'all.
This week's feeling is joy, and our skill of the week is a joy audit. So we are in for a nice little break out of some of the heavier feelings and into some moments that can spark some great fun. So I'm looking forward to it. Speaking of it being a new day, we actually have a new segment, which is called What's My Emotional Endurance Score of the Week, where we take our own assessment and we show y'all where we're at, unvarnished, the real truth. And remember, if you want to see what your emotional endurance score is, you've come to the right place. And we can help you find what that is so that you can help build your emotional endurance a little bit more intentionally. Now, I will say, as we preview these scores, please know that this is a dynamic, ever-changing kind of scoring system. So it's not a better or worse. It's more like a, what's going on this week? And I'm going to let Crimson go ahead and take the wheel and explain her, what does that look like, a 7.4?
So, yeah, Lori, as you know, we've spent a couple years now working on finalizing our emotional endurance assessment. And I have to be honest with you, when we decided to do this weekly, I like it. I mean, it's a short, easy questionnaire. It says inventory, that should say index. QA isn't finished. But what's weird is 7.4 is super high, in my opinion, based on my personality and where I've been. And I think it says a lot about my love for summer break, honestly, because when I see the hope and optimism, I just feel less depleted and more like there's a better day coming. Like I wake up a little bit more enthusiastic and optimistic. I feel like I can take on life's challenges. My community is awesome. I feel supported by people. So, yeah, I think it's abnormally high for me, but I'll take it, dude.
Love it. Yeah, all your scores look high. I guess 4 for optimism for you is probably on the higher end.
Let's be real. That's probably where yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's good. I mean, yeah, you're doing a good job taking care of yourself, getting in the things that you need. Like, what are you doing to cope? Like, what's working?
I mean, I think honestly, the most telling score when I look at this is environmental efficacy, because I feel like if I didn't have like a village of women and, well, women and men, a community of parents helping me manage my shit right now, I would not be managing my shit right now. So I think community. And then honestly, I just feel like not depleted. Again, summer helps me when I don't feel so burdened with like getting the kids' schoolwork done and it's pajama day and it just a whole part of my many plates that I spend to function are due to the school year. And so I feel like I have the self efficacy and resilience to deal with life right now. And then the other big part is whatever I'm not catching, I feel like I have an army of people catching it for me. So, and to your
Yeah.
point, four for me and optimism's high. So, maybe
No,
Donald Trump will
clearly. I
die.
mean, you're doing things right. And I'm not surprised, like, to see your score, like the things that we've been talking about, because we get a lot of time to process with each other. It's like a benefit of our work.
Oh, a benefit of
Um,
working with a psychotherapist for sure.
I can see totally like your experience reflected in the scores. And I had something similar when I did mine. I was like, this is actually really connecting. Like, I think this is really speaking to where I'm at. And if you wouldn't mind to go ahead and share mine, because there's some contrast here.
Oh, Lori.
Uh,
Lori.
at a 4.9, I am very low for me. It's not altogether unexpected. I think this lowness really is due to one very specific time limited environmental stressor, which is that I broke my leg, which is a bummer. And so when you injure yourself, like a lot of the things that keep me feeling hopeful and optimistic and feeling good about myself, like I talked about this on last week's episode, things like, taking my long shower or like a long bath, they become harder when you get hurt. And those are big parts of how you take care of yourself. It's not just the pain and the experience of that and the exhausting nature that is healing. It's also like you can't do the things that you normally do to take care of yourself. So that's why I'm low on the first two. Resilience is high because I'm bouncing back, baby. It's gonna happen. I feel, like my resilience score is where like it's still lower for me, but like I feel that pillar the strongest. And I think that's because I've just really leaned into that pillar throughout my life. That has to do with like my mindset and my values and how I was raised and really having a strict like growth-based mindset. So I'm not surprised that's my highest one. My self-efficacy is low because I just can't do a lot for myself right now. It's getting better every day. The one that's really disappointing is my environmental efficacy is really, really low. And it's really low for a couple of things. First of all, I am just in a lonely season of my life. My kids are young, they're getting involved in school. I think there's like a developmental aspect to this, like a lot of people go through, which just is that transition to being their mom like all the time to like, I'm now taking kids to schools and parties and they have different relationships. And we're in a new town where I don't really know that many people. So it's just, I don't think there's like anything like wrong. It's just, it's a period of time in my life where I'm having to really intentionally like put myself out there and try and build relationships and try and build community. And of course I aspire to have what Crimson has. I hope to get that. And I also am not like rigidly holding on to that expectation because like sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. You go through seasons where you have a lot of friends and support. And I think the most important thing is to keep yourself open. What's hard about the environmental efficacy right now is I had kept myself open to a group of people and I was really thinking that I was developing some relationships there. And unfortunately, when I got hurt, I just didn't feel that support or care or concern. So that's why my score is so low.
Well, that was a lot to unpack. But it's true. I mean, what you point out is a harsh reality that all of us probably go through at one point in time. When I think about when my kids were like 5, I mean, I didn't have Irish twins, so I had a 5 and a 1-year-old, so it was different. It was such a lonely time. It was like a time where I had a few good friends, and I was lucky to see them if I did. And yeah, it's a hard season. And when you lose your self efficacy, like literally, you're incapable of taking care of yourself. And then you see the old structures of support break down. Of course, you're going to feel lonely, but it's all clearing paths for what's new.
I totally agree. And I think that, sometimes you just don't see things clearly until like life shakes things up and you see things clearly. And I think it just was a very easy decision for me to decide that I need to reimagine where I'm putting my energy a little bit and my focus a little bit. And I'm excited about what's going to come up. And I think it's important. It was actually helpful for me to take this assessment when I wasn't feeling good because it helped me ground in the fact that like the rest of that week, as I've woken up and been like, my mood's been like, meh, it's because I have low hope and low optimism and I don't feel supported.
Right.
And I'm also makes me more motivated to do the things that I can do to help me stay regulated because I know that just becoming more dysregulated is just going to lower that score. And I'm hopeful that next week, if I can just stay on top of things, which I've been doing a pretty good job. I haven't been feeling great, but I haven't been super down or anxious or like in conflict with people, which is usually like my signs of dysregulation.
Right.
I'm feeling that hope tick up a little bit because I think that just this next week will be a better week. And it is, like you said, it's a lot to unpack. Maybe it won't all make it to the episode. I don't know. I'm still processing it all. Like you said, it's a story a lot of people experience and it is a really isolating one. And one of the things we want to do with the emotional endurance index and the scores is to help people get more language, more ability to point to like what's actually happening with them and how they're actually need to be helped right now. If we could help you build optimism, which is like Crimson's my favorite case study for optimism. We can do so in specific ways. We can spend more time brainstorming what could be and like imagining different paths. But like for me, obviously my help is I'm just in that process of building community and it takes time.
Right. I mean, that's what taking it weekly, I could see to me. So I got one of those smart scales. I don't know if you have one, but there's like an app and it tells you way too much information. And taking this weekly has kind of made me think of that. It helps guide me. Like, I'm doing good right now. Keep doing the work, keep leaning in, keep asking for help. It's just a good reminder to take note of what's going on inside.
Now it's time for our insight of the week. Crimson, what do you got for us?
All right, Laurie, as you know, I absolutely love any opportunity that I have to talk about one specific man, and his name is Thomas Jefferson. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Okay. So, the insight of the week is with good health and good spirits, the pleasures surely outweigh the pains in life. Why not then taste them again, fat and lean together? And so I know this is like so 1790 or like 1820 something, but I think what he's trying to say is that there are millions of these moments of joy in our life. And yet the moments of pain absorb so much more of our energy and resources. And so, why don't we lean in more to the joy? And I read this quote. So, he wrote it when he was like 80. Him and John Adams, for the history nerds, were not political friends, but aged, they got really old together. And it was in one of the letters that he wrote to John Adams, like close to his deathbed, if not on his deathbed. And John Adams lost his whole family to illnesses. Thomas Jefferson lost his wife at a young age. He lost multiple children. He had obviously a lot of political things going on, you know? And even on his deathbed, he looked back and regretted not leaning in on the joy more. And so when I saw this quote when I was in my early 20s, it just really hit me hard because it's so true,
Yeah, it's really true. This is a great quote because I think this is what I was trying to get at with like, even though my score is low, I feel like I'm riding the wave of the contrast. You
right?
know, like this week I got off crutches and so I'm able to walk around the boot. I can move like a little bit more and I'm really, really excited about it. I'm really excited about going outside. I'm really excited about getting back into my sauna. You know, these things that were just kind of felt like to-do list items in my life prior to getting hurt. I feel so enamored with them, so joyful that I get to do them. And I think that they're great examples of how, if we are not paying attention, if we're not attuned to find the joy in our life, we can get stuck in the negativity and miss the contrast because our brain is always looking for what is the threat. And so we have to very intentionally counteract that and find more psychological safety, emotional safety, physical safety, spiritual safety, whatever it is in our lives so that we can use that energy instead of being always on guard, ready to react, to be able to engage intentionally with paying attention to and capturing the joy around us so that we can live the full contrast of life. The contrast is the beauty, even though it includes the things that we don't think of as beautiful. And now it's time for our feeling of the week, which is joy. Crimson, how would you define joy?
Joy, however ChatGPT defines it, is a feeling of great happiness, delight, or deep satisfaction. It's often associated with a sense of well being, fulfillment, or pleasure that comes from positive experiences, achievements, relationships, or just an appreciation for life. Would you like me to give an example?
Please.
Helping others can bring a sense of joy.
That's true. Altruism is one of the most overlooked coping skill. It
Yeah.
really can bring a lot of joy to engage altruistically. So, with that being said, yeah, joy is like this expansive state of happiness. I think we all wish we lived in joy most of the time, but joy often happens in small moments. And it's interesting that that definition talked about how it is associated with feelings of like well being. It said like feelings
Fulfillment,
of
pleasure.
success, fulfillment, pleasure. Yeah. And that's true. That's a very, very true. But I think one of the most confusing things that people get stuck with around joy is that joy can also show up when you're grieving. Joy can show up in your hardest moments. And in fact, the people that I believe are the best at being able to emotionally regulate are also the ones that are able to find the most moments of joy in their life because they have cultivated a state where they can actually attend to and see those things. If you're in a chronic state of dysregulation, you're not looking for joy, you're looking for what's the way out, right? How do I survive this? And so joy really asks us to be in a present state to be able to receive it, but it doesn't always happen like that. In that you can be grieving and experience joy in the same time. Usually you have to work to summon it and to experience it, but it can present in the most dire of circumstances. And we're going to talk a little bit more about people who have shown that because I think that that is a really important human skill that we need to platform and to celebrate, right? Joy is not just good for your mental health, it's also one of the most physically restorative emotions we have. It fills your tank and it gives you psychological capital deposits in real time. Joy is a real good return on your investment. And also, like any emotion, it's transient. You can't necessarily force it. But the more you regulate yourself, the more likely you are to catch it, experience it, and yes, help it to refuel you. Most adults don't lack joy, they lack attention to joy. It's already happening around you in those small moments. It's just not being recognized and registered. And that is what our joy audit is going to help you do this week when we get into our skill of the week. Help you to find more of that naturally existing joy around you and highlight it more to your brain and your nervous system. And I just think, like, especially like right now, as I'm going through something challenging, this is coming more naturally to me, this ability to kind of like cope and I think ride the wave of this is because I am looking forward to like the joy spots coming back into my life. And I really am relishing them as they do. But with that being said, Crimson, you're sitting at a pretty great point right now with your emotional endurance index this week. What does joy mean to you? How does this show up for you?
Oh, honestly, I actually took a funny picture yesterday. Joy to me right now means time at the pool with my kids with a frosty beverage.
Hmm.
That's where I'm finding
Yep.
joy right now.
I love it.
Yep.
I just got tracked that I can take my boot off and I can get in the pool. So I'm like so excited. I know. I'm so
Congratulations.
excited.
Welcome to summer.
But now I have to shave my body. I have one final boss. After like not shaving for like, like I don't know, it already been a few weeks before I got hurt. My pedicure is like real rough. It's going to take a minute to get it all together. So I got one final boss, but then I'll be at the pool soon and I will be with you with a frosty beverage for sure. All right. Well, that's all for this week's feeling of the week. Now we're going to move into a fun segment where we're going to talk about joy in history. Crimson, would you like to go first or would you like me to go first?
I am happy to go first. I love this
All
one.
right.
And while it's joy in history, I gotta be honest, mine is kind of like current. It's about someone's past. So, what I am bringing to us today is the story of Stephen Colbert. Do you know the tragedy of his life?
I do.
I did not know this. Stephen Colbert lost his brothers, both brothers, and his dad when he was 10 years old in a plane accident, in a passenger plane, leaving him to be a single, a only child with his mom. I had no idea that this was part of his past. I thought of him because he represents so much joy. He has spent his life sharing joy. And we wanted to talk about the duality and the importance of the darkness and the light of joy. And I found this quote from him, and he said, I love the thing that I most wish had not happened because it gave him a perspective that brought so much more joy to his life. So he's not saying that he's glad that they died. He's not saying that joy is an outcome of pain, but he's saying that you're allowed to feel joy even in the midst of pain and tragedy. And I just can't help to think because that man has brought so much joy to this world. And had that moment when he was 10 not been one where he looked for the joy and the gratitude of having his mom and the closeness of the relationship and how these things shaped him, the whole world would have missed out. So
Yeah.
it was just really inspiring because it's a perfect model of the joy audit and what we're bringing today, because it just would have been a shame if he wouldn't have believed into the joy, because I think he'll be remembered in history as someone that brought a lot of joy to many of us.
Yeah, it's quite a story, and when he talks about it, it's like he really engages. He really brings his full emotional experience to the story, and I think that also speaks to a level of personal work for him to be able to stay regulated enough to share this part of his story and to share how his feelings towards it have developed and changed over time. I mean, that's the work. When we talk about doing the work, that's the healing work that we're talking about, is understanding its integration. And again, it's not that he likes it or he's glad that this happened. It's an acceptance, a radical acceptance of what is.
Every time I see him speak, like when research this, he also talks about it with genuine joy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No, I
to your
know. Like you
point,
can
like
really feel.
you feel the sense of contentment. And I think you're right. Like if we had to have a poster child for the emotional endurance movement, he really embodies that. He really embodies a lot of what we're saying. The ability to stay regulated allows you to see the joy. And I think it's beautiful. I thought it was a beautiful story. Life throws lemons at you. He got a lot, losing your dad and brothers at 10 years old, and a whole life and identity. It's beyond tragedy. Tragedy can ruin lives. I mean, we know at 10 years old, that kind of tragedy
Mhm.
can completely alter the trajectory of your life. But for him,
But
it didn't
post-traumatic
all.
growth is a true phenomenon. Yeah.
I love that post-traumatic growth, and that's what he did with his tragedy. And so I thought it was beautiful. I know it's recent history, but I think it's going to be historic.
Well, she's actually recent history as well. So we're in good company. But I wanted to talk about Miss Dolly Parton today because to me,
Aw.
she is someone who is always exemplifying finding joy wherever you find yourself. She was born in 1946, the fourth of 12 children. Her family was so poor, her dad paid the doctor who delivered her with a sack of cornmeal. The day after she graduated high school, she got on a bus to Nashville and never looked back. And in the 60 years since, she's written over 3,000 songs, including Jolene, 9 to 5, and I Will Always Love You. She's won 11 Grammys, been inducted into both the Rock and Roll Music Hall of Fame and the Country Music Hall of Fame. She built Dollywood in the same mountains she grew up in, which I would love to go there. Maybe we could make a field trip and go there someday.
Absolutely.
And she made, and this is the thing I've appreciated so much from her, the Imagination Library, which has mailed more than 200 million free books to children around the world. Here's the thing about Dolly. None of it came from an easy life. It all came from a woman who decided somewhere in a one-room cabin in East Tennessee, where she learned the values of love and creativity and lightness, that joy was something you make and tend to. And then she spent her whole life proving it, leaving us a legacy of rhinestones and literacy. Dolly Parton to me is just such a great example of this. And actually, she has a couple things she wants to say. So hold on one second. How's my wig? Is it rocking?
It might be a little bit more TJ than Dolly, but go for it. Remember the wigs that they wore, like
What's TJ?
Thomas Jefferson? Gets your hairs in the back, you know?
All right, sorry, Dolly, that my wig is more Thomas Jefferson than Dolly Parton, but let's go. Hey, everybody. Now I know what you're thinking. And yes, it costs a lot of money to look this cheap. Indeed. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Joy, honey, because I'm an expert. I was born in the fourth of 12 kids in a one-room cabin, and the doctor who delivered me was paid in a sack of cornmeal. No, but it was good cornmeal. I've been turning lemons into lemonade since birth. I wrote Jolene and I Will Always Love You on the same day. Some folks just have a good Tuesday, and I wrote 2 mega hits in one day. My nails are credited as an instrument on 9 to 5 because that typewriter sound is me, baby. I find joy in my own fingertips. I once lost a Dolly Parton lookalike contest to a drag queen, and I still had the time of my life. That is a true story.
I know it is. She's amazing.
I get up 3 in the morning every single day. Some people call that discipline. I call it being too excited to sleep. I've got a secret song locked in a box at Dollywood that nobody can open till 2045. That's right. I sent my own future self a gift of joy. And now here's what Dolly wants you to remember most this week. Find out what brings you joy and do it on purpose. Bye-bye now.
That is great. Uh, Dolly, Dolly.
My impression skills are not the best. But I think it was great that Dolly wanted to come by and speak to this because I do think she's really an icon in so many ways. But this is one of the biggest is that she took her experience and found ways to creatively build an empire and then share it back with people so that they didn't have to experience the same hardships that she saw in her community. And she has
Yeah.
made a huge difference to literacy. Probably not as much of a difference as I'm going to make with that really sad impression. Now it is time for our skill of the week, the joy audit. Crimson, what do you think a joy audit is?
Okay, we have not discussed this previously, but I am assuming it is sitting down and assessing all the things that bring you joy and leaning into those things.
I wouldn't say you need to sit down and assess. Just take a moment this week to really pay attention to like what are the little things that find joy. Think about it like you're tracking joy the way an accountant tracks money. You want to know where did it show up? How big was it? Did you actually receive it or did it bounce off into the ethers and you didn't even register it? 3 questions to really help you run this joy audit. What sparked my joy? Did I stay with it? What does that tell me to do more or sometimes less of? The surprise of the joy audit is joy is usually much more frequent in our lives than I realize, but it's small and it's usually often free, but you got to go to know to look for it. The emotional endurance link to this is clear. Staying with joy is a skill. It requires regulation. It requires intention. Just like the same skill we would use to manage grief, although our experience of that is quite different. Both are emotions that are transient in nature that we have to intentionally look at, acknowledge, and cope with. A lot of us flinch away from joy. It can make us very nervous or uncomfortable or uncertain when we experience it. But the audit really is going to allow you to notice it and let it land a little bit. And that alone will be a huge shift to your emotional endurance. And with that being said, Crimson, you want to take a minute and think about those 3 questions? What's sparking some joy in your life? Did you stay with it? And what did it tell you to do more or less too?
Yeah, right now, and it's weird to say it, but politics is sparking joy. As you know, I'm an activist and I did political consulting. I'm running a campaign right now. It's sparking joy, and I did not expect that. As you know, this is the
Yeah.
world I've been trying to leave, not for bad reasons, but because, I mean, been there, done that, kind of ready for new stuff. And maybe that's why, because it's no longer a means of income or it's more doing something that I enjoy. But yeah, it's an unexpected thing filling my cup right now and bringing me joy.
I was going to say, you've been mentioning a lot that you feel like your cup's being filled in this space too. So that's awesome. It has not always been that way for you. I hope you don't mind me saying that.
No.
So to hear that, and I think it speaks to your higher efficacy goals too. Like you're feeling more like you're able to do things with this community and engage in these things in this community that are filling up your cup and allowing you to get work done. That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think it also speaks to being aware of what
Yeah.
the joy audit, right? When it wasn't filling my cup, I had to step away. I think it's a great model of what we talk about with endurance because having the ability to lean in and lean out on things gives you the endurance to stay through. And had I let myself get too burned out and had I not pulled away when it wasn't filling my cup, I would be missing out on it filling my cup now. So it's
Yeah.
been a great lesson in how staying regulated, how staying responsive, how staying in tune with those feelings pays out in the long run. I'm having fun.
Absolutely. You're able to have consistent capacity to stay in this group. And yeah, I mean, it's not just workplace, it's also like volunteer boards and stuff like that. They require you to put in a good amount of like energy and intention to be able to continue to exist in those spaces. And unfortunately, a lot of people do burn out in those spaces. So it's
Yeah.
another area where really intentionally providing this encouragement to get and stay regulated makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. My only kind of challenge back to you with doing the joy audit, you did it brilliantly, is to be thinking about what are the things that you need to do for yourself to continue to maintain that capacity and consistency. Because the truth is as we know, something will shift. You may just have a lot of drain and demand in other aspects of your life. Like
Or
what are the
lack of
things?
sleep. I mean, I know sleep is
Yeah.
becoming, I have to sleep and eat. I'm trying to fast to get my metabolism in check, but basically that's resulted in starving myself until like 9 p.m. when I remember to eat. And then it's past my fasting time. So then I have to eat. Like, I'm not going to die. I'm going to eat. So, yes, you're very right because I am on the path to burnout if I do not figure out meal planning and sleep with the chaos of running a business and staying invested 100% here and giving myself there. So, yeah,
That's it. That's the work right there. All right.
yep,
Well, thank you for participating in the joy audit. I hope you participated along with us at home as well. And I hope you find more sparks of joy this week. That is going to go a long way at helping you build your emotional endurance.
yeah. And kudos to me. You did not prepare me for that. And I did good. Nailed
You did
it.
good. Nailed it. Now we're on to this week's game of the week, which we're calling the gifts of joy. We just randomly decide that we're going to send each other a gift of something that gives us joy and hope that that ripple pays forward and brings the other person great joy. I did also put the stipulation of make it weird, make it quirky, and make it under $10. So who knows what we're going to come up with. The rule the receiver says out loud when you open the present, you're going to try and guess why I sent you that. And I will try and do the same. Okay? You
Okay.
ready, Crimson?
All right.
All
I'm
right,
going to open my.
show them the package that
This
arrived.
is a package. All right.
Open it on camera. Let me see your
Okay.
hands. Very well. Oh, great. 5 stars. Very well
And to be
packaged.
clear, what I sent you is what brings me joy.
Yeah, no, this is what brings me
Okay.
joy too.
Okay. Oh, look at this. It's a black bag. This is like Inception. Okay. Second bag. Oh my God. What is this? Just a bag of bags? Am I just going to keep doing this? Oh my God. Okay. So, my first reaction of why this brings joy, you're going to get so mad at me. This reminds me of pierogi.
Pierogi is my now deceased pug. It has pierogi qualities for sure.
I feel like you sent me like a mutated pierogi. Okay, just tell me
So
about.
pierogi was not the inspiration, but I'm so glad he made it. He made the
Uh,
commentary. So that is a toad. Okay. In my backyard, we have a creek, and the toads come out like
oh,
May to like November, and they only come out at specific times. They come out like 10:30 to like 12:30, 1 a.m. That's their time. And they're just out there making toad sounds. And
oh,
I've never
cool.
seen them, but I love them and they bring me so much joy. And I love hearing them and I look forward to it. I miss them during the winter when they're hibernating. And so I was like, I need to send her a toad. And that guy showed up and I was like, perfect. That is the little toad. And I hope that you remember me and my toads and it brings you smiles and you remember pierogi. But I hope this frowny frown
Can I just
brings
tell
you
my
joy.
pierogi story?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Also, I have a cute, my monitor's up on a stand. They can put
Yeah.
things inside. So he's definitely getting a permanent placement on
Oh.
my desk. I have to put him in too. You got me this for my birthday.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
we were in our 20s. I want to preface this. We were young, childless. I went to your apartment and Pierogi was there, of course, because he was your dog. And I had never been around a pug. That was a new experience for me. I've never really been into like the short snouted dogs because I don't know, they have health issues and we just never had one. I find their facial features very fascinating. And I also just like, I get all these weird fundamental kicks where I'm like, well, fundamentally, like if their nose is that jacked, they need surgery all the time. Like Darwin needs to do its thing. Like, why are we keeping these things alive? Which is really cold. And you were like very clear about how cold that statement was. So Pierogi grew on me though. I liked the dog, even though I was like, you are a mutant from space. So we had been drinking a little bit and we went back to your place because you had to check on Pierogi and he was eating. I realized because of his eyeball placement, in order to eat, he had to place his whole head in the bowl because his eyes were like this way instead of this way. So he would like go in the bowl and like eat. I tripped out. I talked about that shit for months. Months, Lori. Like, how can something live when they have to put their head in the food to consume the food? It blew my mind. And so it gives more depth to this.
Maybe he enjoyed the experience. We just don't know. It's hard to say. Hopefully he found joy in having to put his full face in the food, but he did. He was a weird little dog. He was a
He was
good boy.
adorable. He was
Yeah.
adorable. All right, Lori, do you have yours?
Yep,
Mine's
I
so
do.
not cool compared to yours. But when you open it, you're gonna totally know because this is part of my life.
Oh. These are the mini outdoor travel toothbrushes. Thank you. She did get me hooked on these when we were traveling.
I mean, they bring me so much joy.
So much plastic, but thank you for buying them for me because I would not have bought them for myself, and this is a real treat. I'm gonna use one right now.
Yeah, I was gonna go downstairs and get
They
one.
what's really cool, they've got this little, I guess,
That looks like a bigger
mouthwash
bag. It said it was
This is
rebranded.
big. You got me a big bag. You set me up for like a long time. I appreciate that.
Yeah, my bags go a little. I need to.
They have an
one.
expiration date of 2028. 28 pieces. Yeah, she's gonna set me up, and I like that it's got the little thing on the end. That's nice. Those are nice for travel.
Well, so for me, it's post coffee, in between meetings and post coffee, man. Like, and they just, I don't know, they're like, it lifts me up. I guess as I get older, I don't enjoy chewing gum like I used to, and I don't carry it. I don't know. And I feel like it's unprofessional. I don't know. I just don't do gum anymore. And so I was at Kings Island on a hot day, and my friend handed me one, and it brought me joy. And now I mean, I probably use 2 or 3 a day. I'm addicted.
They're nice, refreshing.
Yeah.
It is a nice refresh.
It
Yep.
is.
Okay, I get it. I got the joy. Well, that was good. Good game. Yeah.
Yeah. That was fun.
I feel the ripples.
Thank you, U.S. Postal System, for enabling us.
Yes, thank you. That's all for this week's episode of the Emotional Endurance Movement. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow for more great coping content and to support us in helping everyone build their emotional endurance a little bit more because we all need to learn to stay more regulated in this very dysregulating world. Make sure to join us next week where you will bring the feelings.
And we'll bring the games. Take care of yourself and each other.
Bye.